I hope Sala, Ashutosh, my colleagues are here who can see that this laptop is definitely too big for this podium here. Okay, Yandra Vinaka, Nisambula Vinaka, Malolele, Talofa, and warm Pacific greetings to each and every one of you who are here present today, as well as all our colleagues, all our well-wishers who have joined us internationally. So that's my line, especially warm Pacific greetings in a very windy, cold Wellington. So when I don't know the other Pacific greetings, we just very conveniently use warm Pacific greetings like Professor Sharma did. Anyway, so a warm welcome today too. I hope you all rested. Yes, we did have a bit of an ordeal, which is why my apologies. I was in fact thinking that it was the other room. I think it was lack of sleep because of yesterday's ordeal. All right. So I just wanted to, before I go on to introduce our esteemed speakers today, I just wanted to reassure to each and every participant today. Remember, this is not just mine or the speakers forum. This is ours. This is our Pacific. We all have a lot of interest, a lot of love and passion for our region, right? And we also have lots of people from outside our region who are here to support us. So if we could please contribute to the session as much as we can. So even though we have some presentations today on PowerPoint, we really do not intend any death by PowerPoint, right? We want the session to be as interactive as possible. So we will try to implement something like a Pacific-style Talanoa. Okay? All right. So our first session, session 6A, is on technology in enhancing access to information, which is a panel discussion. It will be supported by some PowerPoint presentations. And our, excuse me, our first speaker for today is Professor Bibia Sharma, who is someone who is well known in our region and beyond. So if I may share some information about him as he makes his way up to the stage. Professor Sharma was born on November 29th, 1970. I'll give you a moment to do the math. He's a statistician. So I did not write this, just so you know. Okay. And he received his master's and PhD degree in mathematics from the University of the South Pacific. He is currently a professor of applied mathematics and head of School of Information Technology, Engineering, Mathematics, and Physics at USP. He also served as Associate Dean for Learning and Teaching with the Faculty of Science, Technology, and Environment and USP since 2010, right up to 2019. He is a researcher who has led both international and Pacific-based projects and is a member of a number of professional mathematics societies and unions. Bibia has published more than 150 articles, book chapters in the field of Pacific science education, TLPs of higher education, especially dealing with ICT, assistive technologies, RTI work in the Pacific, robot navigation, stability, biologically inspired processes. He champions adaptive works, innovations, and targeted interventions for higher education and sustainable economies. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I'd like us to acknowledge Professor Sharma's presence here. Okay. And next, if you could please have Mr. Alfred Moike Soake of Tonga Women in ICTs. I'm sorry, I think there's a bit of a mistake here. Do we have Alfred on the panel as well? Is he joining us? Does anyone know? Sorry. That's what happens when you don't reply to my message on LinkedIn. Okay, thank you very much. Now, this gentleman here has a very interesting profile, and to be honest, it may go from ICT right up to medicine. So I may ask him to introduce himself as soon as he gets a chance. And next we have Elisapeta Mawai from SITA, Samoa Institute of Technology. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. So I will ask Alfred and Elisabetta to please introduce themselves. If you could kindly make your way up here. Thank you.
Testing. Hi, Talofa, and good morning to everybody. My name is Beta Mawai, and I'm from the island of Samoa. And I teach at the National University of Samoa and also a member of the IT Society in Samoa. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kia ora maurelei, everyone. I'm Alfred Sokai. I have some sort of imposter syndrome. I've taken a sabbatical from the tech world for a couple of years now, working in the health space. But my experience is basically in the information system finance sector and public sector. Over 10 years of experience in the region. And it's quite an honor to be back in an ICT-driven workspace. Very privileged. Yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I can assure you there's way more to their profiles than that they have very humbly stated. Okay, so without further ado, let's just start with Professor Sharma. We could have his presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon, for the nice words. Bula, everyone. Bula. Yeah, it was a little bit of an ordeal at 2 o'clock this morning. I had to run out without any clothes. Then I ran back, had my jacket and my trousers, then went out again. Terrible. Right, I don't think this time around you'd like to listen a lot from me. We had enough dosage yesterday. But this time around, I think this is a topic which is very interesting and very applicable to the people in the Pacific. And this is RTI, Right to Information. Right to information, like any other human rights, like we have right to education, right to work, right to freedom of speech. Similarly, we have right to information. While this phrase itself and the first RTI Act came out in Sweden in 1766, for it to reach in the Pacific, it took a long while. Just recently, the concept has been reborn, if I may say, in the Pacific. They started off from, I think, Vanuatu. They were the first one to implement the RTI Act, and then slowly permeated to the other Pacific countries. I'll basically, in very short discussion on what we have done, the work which we have done in RTI in the Pacific. This is sponsored by UK Aid and facilitated by UNDP. What basically they have done is they have got these anti-corruption efforts, and one of the effort was to join with USP in trying to create some awareness, trying to develop some tools so that there is exchange of information between the supply and the demand. So that was our main work that went in this particular area. Oh, this is just fancy stuff. Do not worry about that. Right. I'll just get quickly to what we did. We started in 2021, and basically the first thing we did was to take RCI to the Pacific. We had gone to Tonga, to Vanuatu, and to Fiji in trying to create awareness to different cohorts that could be person with disabilities. We went to women in businesses, etc., youths. And we tried to see what they basically wanted, what sort of communication channel they wanted, how they can get the information. First of all, well, they did not know what was RTI. Neither did I, by the way. When I signed up for the project, I had no idea what RTI was. I thought it's just a IT project, and I said, okay, no problem with UNDP. Then I found out what RTI was. And we created these sort of workshops. We had a number of trainer. My friend Swaran there is also a certified RTI trainer. And we went to different places and we tried to see, first of all, to spread the news of RTI, and secondly, to find out from people how they are accessing information. And it's very interesting. If I ask you, how are you getting the information from your government websites or government portals? Do you have any difficulty? And these were the kinds of questions we were asking our people. And surprisingly, most of them were not able to access the information. That communication channel was broken. Many of them didn't know where to get the information from. And if the information was available, people could not access the information because maybe due to their lack of digital literacy or lack of knowledge or lack of network. Surprisingly, what works in the Pacific is whom you know. If you go to a person, they will give you the information which you want. So we were able to gather all these problems. And also, I must also say that many people didn't want to share this information because they felt that they could be victimized. We had to tell them this is basically trying to strengthen the link between the supply and the demand from the citizens and the public bodies and the government. And there is nothing against the government. If anything, we are trying to help out the government in making them more visible, accountable. They also have an ear on the ground to know what's happening. So those sorts of things we try to gather, and based on their feedback, then we try to develop a number of things. And I would definitely encourage you to go through this website, this PowerPoint slide, and click on those links. You will find out a lot of information on what we have actually developed for the Pacific. From 3 countries, we went to 5 countries, and we are extending this year again to other countries. But please have a look at this, how what we have done in the work which we did in RTI, how it made changes to people's life. So these are under Stories of Change. We have also created a design thinking manual. If you want to start up something, a project, a business, then this design thinking manual has all the concepts which we require from the Pacific, all the cultural practices and the ways you can be successful. We also have the RTI e-course. Please go over the RTI e-course. It's very, very important if you want to know what's happening in the Pacific. And we also have the mobile app which we are developing, and it should be hopefully implemented in Vanuatu towards the end of the year. It will be hosted by their RTI section. Again, hopefully. So we started in 2021 and then moved around until now. We have gone to many places, many groups, and many success stories we have seen and witnessed. These are our 2 main tools, like I was saying, the RTI Pacific app and the RTI e-course. The QR codes are here. If you want, you can scan, download, and experience what we have created. We also, like I was saying, one of the main problems which we did encounter in the Pacific throughout the communities was our digital literacy. So although the government had made information available through different ways, people were not able to access them due to this digital literacy. So the first module of the e-course is basically on digital literacy. We have to improve that first before they are able to use these RTI tools which we have designed for them. So in short, this is just a short video talking about the different features that are in the app. I'm not sure why the sound is disabled. That's okay. In short, it has a number of features, very important features. One of the most important features which I would think which is available is you can retrieve and you can request information. Some information you can't retrieve from the places, but you can request. You can place a request, it goes to the relevant authorities, and you are able to get the information which you want. And this mobile app is basically a one-stop shop where all the information is available for you. You don't have to hunt around to different ministries, different sections to get the information. Another fact was when we did this survey on women entrepreneurs, we found out that more than 50% of these women didn't have their business registered. And this information is published, actually. It's real. I'm not making it up. And why? There were various reasons. One reason was they thought that the government will take away all their profits. Again, it shows the lack of information, lack of right information. Second reason was they could not find the information at one place. They had to hunt around, bribe people to get all the information. So after a while, everybody gives up. No, it's not worth it. But after experiencing these workshops, these tools, we found out many of them have registered their business formally, and they're doing quite well, actually. I think this is, again, quite important, and we all are more or less aware of what's happening here. While we are taking these RTI tools to the Pacific, to all these different countries, there are two main problems which we face. One is the current infrastructure and the connectivity. If we have all these RTI tools, the nice ones, but if the connectivity is not there, the infrastructure is not okay, then these tools do not work. And secondly, the policies. We also have problems with the policies. As you know, the policies, there are no policies. I will skip this, it's okay, we all know about this. Basically, to look at the policies, if you look at the national ICT policies, most countries in the Pacific do not have these national ICT policies, and they depend on the international policies and standards. I think Fiji is just now working on their own national ICT policy. Tonga has the ICT in education policy, but many of the others are still working on their policies. So once these policies are there, then I think these can drive the efforts of RTI better. And thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll have Elisabetta, please. So we will go ahead with her presentation, after which we will have a panel discussion.
Okay, good morning. Okay, you seem like a good morning today. So I'm going to start up with a little activity. If I say miri, 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 it means rub your two hands together. Miri, 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 miri. If I say tasipo, tasipati, patia, then one clap. Patia, patia. If I say lua pati, then two clap. Lua pati, lua pati. If I say hey, hey, what do you say? Okay, start from the beginning. Miri, 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 miri. Patia, patia. Lua pati, lua pati. Hey, hey. Still sleeping. Okay, kia ora koutou. Talofa lava and warm greetings to everyone. Firstly, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our hosts and donors for organizing this significant forum and bringing us together, the participants and also the fellows together. My name is Elizabeth Mawai, and I am from the National University of Samoa, and I am also a member of the IT Society in Samoa. And as outlined in the program, I also need to add on Professor there, the intention to continue on our discussion by focusing on the role of technology, which is widely recognized as a critical tool for enhancing access to information. Coming from an education background and as an academic, I will concentrate on exploring the specific issues and challenges related to leveraging technology to improve access to information within Samoa's education sector. And I hope that our exchange of ideas will stimulate further dialogue enriched by this diverse perspective of our island communities. Okay. So what issues? What issues am I going to explore here? Let's start with digital infrastructure and connectivity. In Samoa, we have some challenges. Samoa faces significant challenges with digital infrastructure, including limited broadband coverage, slow internet speed, and frequent connectivity issues, especially in rural areas. These issues hinder students and educators' access to online resources and digital platforms essential for our modern education. In light of this, the lack of reliability or reliable internet access makes educational inequalities worse, particularly for students in remote or underserved areas who are unable to participate in online learning or access digital education content. Availability of digital resources and tools. This is a concern because there is a scarcity of locally relevant digital content, educational software, and online resources tailored to the Samoan curriculum and language. Additionally, the cost of devices such as computers, tablets, and smartphones can be prohibitive for many families, limiting students' access to essential tools for learning. This lack of resources can lead to a dependency on outdated teaching materials, reducing the effectiveness of educational delivery and hindering students' ability to engage with contemporary learning method. Teacher training and professional development. Many educators in Samoa have limited training in the use of digital technologies for teaching and learning. There is a need for ongoing professional development to equip teachers with the skills to effectively integrate technology into their teaching practices. Due to this, without proper training, educators may struggle to utilize the available technology effectively, leading to underutilization of digital tools and resources, and consequently, a missed opportunity to enhance learning experiences. Digital literacy among students. Students often have varying levels of digital literacy, with some lacking the basic skills needed to navigate online resources, use educational software, or engage in remote learning. This digital divide can create disparities in learning outcome. In response, the existing of this gap in digital literacy that can hinder students' ability to fully benefit from technology-enhanced education potentially leaving some students behind in an increasingly digital world. There is a need for education technology that respects and incorporates Samoan cultural values and the Samoan language. Many digital resources are in English and may not be culturally relevant or easily accessible to all students. As an effect, this can lead to disengagement or difficulty in understanding, especially for younger students or those who are more comfortable learning in their native language. The sustainability of technology initiatives in education is often hampered by inconsistent or insufficient funding. We heard it yesterday, all throughout yesterday. This affects the ability to maintain and upgrade digital infrastructure, providing necessary resources and ensuring ongoing training for educators. As a result, without sustainable funding, schools may struggle to keep up with technological advancement, leading to a widening gap between what is possible with technology and what is actually implemented in educational setting. The development of implementation of comprehensive national policies that support the integration of technology in education can be slow or fragmented. And there is often a need for a stronger government commitment to prioritize and fund technology-enhanced education. In response, a lack of clear policies and support can result in uneven adoption of technology across schools and educational institutions, leaving some students with less access to digital learning opportunities than others. Ensuring that all students, regardless of their socioeconomic background, have equal access to technology and information it provides is a significant challenge. Issues of gender, disability, and geographical location can further exacerbate inequities in access. And in response, without targeted intervention, these disparities can contribute to a cycle of inequality where marginalized groups continue to have less access to educational opportunities and information. More students and educators, as they go online, there is a lot of concerns about online safety, privacy, and cybersecurity becomes increasingly important. There is a need for education on how to navigate the digital world safely, particularly for younger students. And as a result, the impact of this is that inadequate online safety measures can expose students to risks such as cyberbullying, inappropriate content, and private breaches, potentially undermining the benefits of digital learning. Well, there you have it. There are some of the critical issues and impact related to technology in enhancing access to information. Now, let's consider the question, so what? As people from the Pacific region, it is our opportunity in this forum, I hope, to discuss and generate innovative ideas to address these challenges. Personally, I would like to seize this valuable opportunity to appeal directly to our esteemed funders or donors for support in future initiatives in Samoa. So, Internet and SED, AUDA, EPINIC, and UNESCO. I don't know if I missed anyone. All of you, your financial assistance will be greatly appreciated for several targeted initiatives. First, it is essential to expand broadband coverage to remote areas through collaborations with local internet services providers and government agencies. Additionally, investing in satellite internet solutions like the Starlink that just started introducing back home and mobile hotspots can ensure more consistent and widespread connectivity. Donors, we will love your support in the development and the distribution of affordable, locally relevant digital resources, such as digital textbook in the Samoan language and culturally appropriate education software. Moreover, investing in professional development programs for educators is very crucial. These programs should focus on digital literacy and integrating technology to teaching. They could include workshops, online courses, and peer mentoring to equip teachers with the necessary skills to use technology effectively. Additionally, digital literacy programs for the students, particularly in underserved areas, it should also be integrated into the school's curriculum or offered as after-school activities. Creating culturally and linguistically appropriate digital content is also very vital. Establishing long-term funding mechanisms such as endowments or public-private partnerships is also vital to ensure the sustainability of ICT initiative. Supporting policy advocacy to prioritize technology in education, focusing on marginalized groups and promoting online safety and cybersecurity are a critical component of this strategy. In conclusion, by addressing these critical areas, we can ensure that funders or donors meet both immediate needs and drive sustainable improvements in Samoa's educational technology landscape. This will enhance access to information, foster equity, and create a more effective learning environment for all students. So together, we have the opportunity to shape a brighter future through technology, transforming challenges into opportunities for growth and learning. Thank you for your attention and commitment to advocating the education in our region. Yeah, thank you. You guys sleeping? Miri. Fatia, you are batting? You are batting?
and access through broadband, through cables, recapping on some of the earlier discussions that the infrastructure is being put in place, it can be improved, the costs are coming down, mobile devices are more readily accessible, and it's cheaper, information is accessible. I think the challenge is how do we ensure that the information is trustworthy? From the pandemic, really, the COVID pandemic really taught us about misinformation, disinformation. I think that is the real challenge for youth and communities. And through the support of development partners and other government agencies, the focus is on the authenticity and also the trusted sources of information for our communities, our young people, those that are most vulnerable to receiving, interpreting, and taking action on false information. So really, that is sort of my focus. But I'm so glad to hear about AI. AI is so useful. Unfortunately, it has its dangers of flooding information again out there, causing more risk and needing more support for NGOs and government agencies on how to really ensure that our communities and young people are protected and sort of guided. Learnings is really important. I really found that useful yesterday, recapping on we are only as good as what we've learned. We need to really capture the learnings, the technical side and the cultural side. I really related to the example of that teacher in the communities and her comment around the kids will be smarter than us. I think that is a voice, that is a viewpoint of the people that we serve. And no matter how far-fetched or how irrelevant those comments are, they are the people that we serve. And they have the voice. And we need to actually, we need to bring in to the conversation. I think information in enhancement, and I'm welcome to talk to anyone that has a view on what enhancement is that relationships. Relationships, a colleague of mine from Samoa said, relationships is the currency of the Pacific. Without it, we are divided. We don't act as one. We cannot improve. We can't get work done. In a world where things are digital, that will be tested. Relationships is our currency, and that is where we need to add as an extra dimension into our work, partnering with NGOs, the voices of our communities where they face challenges. That's where the real challenge is. Sorry, team, I know there's a saying, save the best for last, but I think it's save the best for later. Not my conversation, but the Tonga women in ICT is a voice from community and young people. It's about capturing their voice. It's about ensuring that they're safe, training them, giving them power, empowerment, to be able to take the right information, take that to their communities, their families, their whānau, and to work together with government agencies in ensuring that the information is appropriate, safe, and to do good. That's all for my speech. Thank you so much. Marabito.
Thank you very much, Alfred. Do we have any questions from the audience? Okay. So if you could please kindly make your way to the mic. So if you could please just introduce yourself briefly before you make your comments or questions.
Is this it's working. Ulrich Speidel from University of Auckland. It's really a question to you, Elisabetta. Basically, I work on connectivity in the Pacific, and I know that there's two fundamentally different problems when it comes to connectivity, and you've mentioned this is sort of one of your priority areas. One is the challenge of actually bringing connectivity to an island and bridging that remote distance. And the other problem, which is not really unique to the Pacific, is once that cable or that satellite link gets there, how we're going to manage the last mile. And my question to you is, I know there's a number of fiber optic cables going to Samoa, and Samoa also doesn't suffer from the problem that a lot of other Pacific Island nations suffers from, in the sense that you haven't got that many islands. You've only got 3, if I counted right. Others have dozens. So for me, a question is, for Samoa, do you see this mostly as a lack of international connectivity that's there, or do you see it as a lack of last mile connectivity within Samoa?
Testing. Thank you very much for the question. I know my fellows here can be able to also contribute as they know more about the technical part. With the education, that's where my focus was, is they lack the connectivity. And there are many reasons why the coverage is not out in the rural areas yet. And some of the reasons could be politicians, political. Some of the reasons could be the slow in the aid and implementing the projects. There are some existing projects going on at the moment, but they might be slow. And some of the projects have, some of the aids, they have specific criteria in how to meet. So unless their criteria are met, then they won't be able to offer that aid. So there is a various reason why some of the areas in the education is not covered by internet yet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who has questions? If you could please kindly make your way up here, ma'am, to the mic. Feel free to line up. It's absolutely fine.
Good morning, Talofa. And well, this morning, Pula, my question goes to Professor Sharma. Pipia, it's about the RTI project. I didn't hear any challenges. I'm not sure if you mentioned some challenges during the deployment of the RTI in the Pacific. So I know that different cultures as well, different setup, different platforms they use. Do you face any challenges of collecting the data or negotiating with the governments of these countries, of these islands, when you try to introduce the RTI to them? Thank you.
Vinaka, and thank you, Sarai, for that question. And I know you know the answer to that question as well. Yeah, you just wanted to that to come out from my mouth. Yes, there are heaps of challenges. RTI is a very, if I may say, political topic. There is a lot of hesitation from both ends. When I talk about the supply end, people really don't know how much to release, and sometimes the non-sensitive information they don't really want to release. There is a big tussle between trying to find out which information is sensitive and which information is non-sensitive. For us, if something is non-sensitive, for example, the pay of the parliamentarians, but for the parliamentarians themselves, it would be sensitive information. They don't want that information to go out. So initially, when we started in 2021, there was a lot of hesitation, like I said, from the supply side in terms of providing information. But I think once you go and talk to the people, you talk to the parliamentarians, you talk to ministers, and like my friend here said, that the relationships and our teamwork is the main currency of the Pacific. And it's very nice to say that, because once we get into the Talanoa sessions with the parliamentarians and the public bodies, you realize that they also want to release the information. They don't want to keep it. They also want to win the next election. They also want to know what's happening to their people. So slowly it comes, no, it comes, the information start to flow. And the people also are then happy to voice out, to say, okay, I want this information, and I want to get this information in this particular format and in this way. So I think we have, in these last 3 years, we have made quite a good progress in accepting and working on those challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes. After this, we can take one more question, then I will go to an online participant. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Talofa lava, kia ora tātou. I'm really interested to hear from the panel, and putting my hand up, Elisabetta, I am part of Internet Aotearoa Council at the moment. So pretty much donor, and I know Annalise is in the room and she knows more about the donor session that's coming up on Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah. And anyway, my question is, I'm interested in, you talked about some of the challenges, the three of you, in creating culturally appropriate language content and resources. And I'm wondering, in your different fields, what have you found that's worked?
I'll start. I think we use tools that are available for Pacific. It's been researched. Things like Talanoa. It is opening up the conversation, not predetermined, open sharing. I think that's worked. Co-design, partnership. I think that's very, very important for anything to succeed more broadly, very so much in community levels, I think. And there's many other paradigms and tools, depending on what community you're engaging with. I think it's important to learn that. It is a sign of respect and appreciation. It's mutual appreciation. So even in the leveling field, sometimes as technical people, that can be a little bit intimidating for the communities that we deal with. But recognizing that we're all equals and the same can go a long way. I'll just pass it on.
Okay, do I have a choice? What worked and what doesn't work? I think we kind of heard it from yesterday's presentations on the importance of getting the user's perspective in order to cater for what will actually work. We have sort of an idea of providing an assumption, with the assumption that things will be working for the same for everybody else. And that's my my own point, is to get the user's perspective first. And that will definitely hope that they will work. It will work. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Elisabetta. We have one final question from the audience, then we will move on to a question from the online participants.
Thank you, Swaran. Bula Vinaka. My name is Amanda. I'm with the Digicel Pacific. I'm probably the only operator in this room. I think the rest are in the other room. I'd like to catch up with the gentleman that spoke earlier in terms of whether international connectivity or last mile is the issue. My question is to Elisabetta. In terms of Samoa, if you had the ideal funding, what would be your first priority and objective to complete?
It's quite a tough question there. I need to go back to my priority list and then rank from there. What will be my shopping list to give you? Is that the right intention? Starting from the top, yeah, I'm not too sure at the moment, but connectivity would be one. Getting a reliable connection would be something to consider. And if I were to give more, then yes, there's more. But yes, thank you.
Thank you, Lisapeta. That was also my question. Thanks, Amanda, for taking that up. Okay, we have one final question, again for Lisapeta, from Brooke Schofield. With only 1,500 Samoan language Wikipedia entries, what can be done to make more content available? Is this the solution to your textbook problem?
Sorry, come again?
With only 1,500 Samoan language Wikipedia entries, what can be done to make more content available? Is this the solution to your textbook problem?
Sorry, and I don't quite get the meaning of the question.
If there's anybody else here from Samoa, Sarai is here. I think Sarai would be able to support us in this question. I'll repeat the question. With only 1,500 Samoan language Wikipedia entries, what can be done to make more content available? Is this the solution to your textbook problem? I think the last part is rhetorical.
Okay, thank you for that question. It's very important. Yes. At the moment, we have this national initiative with the UNDP, Samoa Knowledge Information Initiative, that we partner with the UNDP and Commonwealth of Learning to develop a digital library, national digital library. That will be another step to increase the content of the Samoan language, of the Samoan on the Wikipedia. And also, there's a lot of awareness that needs to be done in this area, because this is a new norm. Thanks to the COVID, that they've been considered the importance of the technology. And that's where the people of, I take Samoa as an example, take our people, change the mindset that the information is now available online. So before it goes online, we need to be verified. There is a process that can go through. It's not just something that you just put it online. You have to go through the process, verify it before you put it online. Same as when you do the publications. There is a process to go through before you publish and make it available on the textbook. So awareness needs to be there. Lots of information needs to be put online, make it available, but it has to go through a proper process, verify it properly before we put it up, so that can be accessible. And I hope that I answered that question.
Thank you very much, Sarai. Yes, there's a lot more conversation that can happen around these areas. And yes, we do need the donor agencies and the techies and the ISPs listening to us when you speak about this important conversation. Anyway, so that is all we have time for on the panel, but we can take the conversation to coffee or through lunch, right? Thank you very much. If we can have a round of applause for our esteemed speakers.